Hi everyone, this is Valendra and this is my first time-lapse video that I'm doing for a comic panel. The software I'm using is Clip Studio Paint and I'm using it on iPad Pro. So I think the software is pretty much similar in PCs, and I'm very new to the software, so I might be doing some things the hard way, but I wanted to show you how I do a comic panel in my style, or how I do it personally. First of all, let's start from the beginning. I start each update with a storyboard sketch for each panel. If I can just detail it out, I will use a detailed sketch as this for the initial sketch on the storyboard. This was a very specific scene I had in mind, so it is really detailed compared to my other storyboard sketches. And I did try doing a line art a couple of weeks ago for this panel, but I decided to just do from the beginning for this tutorial, and yeah, it was not that good, to be honest. So I create a panel using panel tool, so anything I do will not bleed out the panel, and I will not have to worry about cleaning out color washes, line art, or just messed up, anything that's outside the panel. I don't know. And I do a more detailed sketch before I start line art, so I will not wing it out and just get frustrated while doing the line art. I use a regular layer for that, so I just sketch out, detail the scene, flesh out clothes, hair, and just adjust whole panel from out there. I often change ratios, proportions, sometimes poses, because it doesn't work out as well as the really early sketch before the line art. So this step is really crucial to me. And I don't know, I like detailing out everything else before starting line art. It helps me just see how it will pan out and how well it will just work with the overall composition. So I also often flip page a lot because I usually don't see how messed I do in a sketch or line art. Flipping canvas really helps me to see my mistakes, so I will not find them out when I'm done with the whole thing, because nothing is more frustrating than just finding mistakes all over the panel that you have to spend extra time to correct them. So to avoid that, I try to take as much as time as necessary to do this step properly. Then I will not be pulling out my hair after I'm done with the panel. So yeah, I flip the canvas and try to see all the mistakes that I might have missed while doing it one way, and finish the step. Next, I'm doing the line art, and I have to stress this out. I recently found out about the vector layer, and it saved my life after I think the third update, and use vector layers for line art, because no matter if it's a webtoon or a regular comic page, doing it with vector layer really saves you a lot. Sometimes you do the line art and you don't like the proportion of it. You have to scale it or use mesh transformation like I did just now. Vector layer ensures that you don't mess up with your line art. It still remains crisp and it doesn't blur, it doesn't get smudged, You can even adjust line weight if you want to, like you scale the thing and it's too thin or it's just too bold of a line. You can just use the line edit, not the line edit, I can't remember the real term of it right now, but because you click one tool and it just opens up to 5 other tools in this program. I will point it out in the video. You can adjust line weight really easily, as I said, and it really saves your life. It saved my life a lot of times, and especially if it's a webtoon and you need to use a close-up panel, or just make minor adjustments on a line art and reuse it. You can scale your line art and it will not be affected by it. And the best part of the vector layer, in my opinion, is like the part you see, you can just manipulate your line art, and there are little vector spots, points that you can manipulate and just adjust your line art the way you want. It will not be affected that much with just moving it around, scaling it, dragging it all over the place. It will remain really nice, and yeah, it will save your time and your sanity. My sanity depends on the line art and how it cooperates with me. So use it, or at least try it. If it's not your thing, just I use vector layer a lot in line art process of my illustrations, panels. I like to keep vector layer even if I'm done with the panel, because I might go back and use that line art, or I might go back and decide to correct some mistakes I did, and I don't have to redraw all over. And also with the eraser, you can use vector properties, like you just need to erase a line that's overlapping from a line you draw, like the one I did just now with the handbag strap. You just need to click on the vector magnet on eraser and you can erase it just fine. Otherwise you will end up with a lot of white lines in your line art and it will be a headache to clear them out. They are not visible, but they are like kind of like lines, invisible lines, and when you try to manipulate your line arts, they appear right there, and you just choose your line art and try to manipulate it, and suddenly the part you erased comes up when you just drag the line, and you realize oh, that you did not actually erase anything, you just maxed it with an invisible white line art. So yeah, there are a couple of YouTube videos that you can check further on the properties of these specific tools. But as I said, I use majorly vector layers for line art, and for the rest of it I just use a regular layer. So the poster this background poster was so much fun to do, but it had like little screen time in the whole update, but I wanted it to look like an X-Men or I don't know, Avengers type of superhero poster, so I just took my sweet time and had fun with it. This is done on a regular layer. As I said, I used a pencil tool, so it will look as sketch, and I don't need to really define it with line art. I don't want to spend more time than I need to on this piece, but I also wanted to just make it look like it is a sketch or drawing. And the second poster is actually from one of the games I played with my friends. You need to draw something with the keywords given to you, and this one turned out like an album cover or like a horror movie poster, so I decided to use it on there. And yeah, it worked out really good because it saved me so much time trying to find out what kind of poster I have to do that for the next movie part. So yeah, just like to reuse my study pieces. It really helps. And for the flats, as I said, I'm using a regular layer. I already had some colors picked up in my palette, but for the jacket or just like this dude's hair, I decided to just pick random colors and use on the flats layer. The hairs usually take longer because I like to not close off the line art, so I can just use bucket tool to fill areas. I have to draw everything myself and then use bucket tool inside. And sometimes I need to just cover the, border areas with the pen tool myself and then use bucket. So this is pretty much straightforward. Now what I'm doing is using multiply and add some shadows. I already had this shadow color picked for the other panels, so I'm using the same color for everything else. I will use a darker color for just further stressing out the darker areas, because when I blend the shadow layer, some parts will look lighter, so I have to make them stand out more by adding a darker color. This is pretty much the basics that I'm doing here, and I'm pretty sure it can be done in many different ways, but yeah, experiment yourself and try to find your own style. For the poster, actually I had quite a lot of fun. I wanted it to look painterly, so I used a lot of layers, then I merged them together after I'm done. I used gouache paint brush for this and just had fun. And yeah, the ginger is like the Black Widow, kinda. Not exactly her, but kinda, yeah. I just picked some colors, blend them out. I really love how this tool blends colors. It's just fantastic. And for this poster, it worked really well. That might be part because I'm just getting used to the brush tools and how to use them. That might be part of it. But overall, just experiment with the tools, with brushes, because I love trying them out, and that's kind of why I just spent most of my really precious time testing out tools, how to work with them. I want to do something painterly with these brushes because I've never done a painterly style digitally. It's usually really obvious that it's a digital coloring, painting. So I'll like to do a full render piece at some point. I'm also using a lot of the blend layer properties for this I use Glow Dodge. I love Dodge layer properties, to be honest. They save time, the effects are really cool. So this is a mirror shine, glass shine kind of effect, and it's just the layer setting is normal. And I would also suggest you to invest in downloading tons of fonts. I'm glad I did spend time to download a lot of different fonts, because otherwise I would have to spend extra time in finding these fonts or just creating them myself. Like, yeah, I can just make the mask movie title myself, but yeah, let's face it, why just spend that extra time instead of being able to type it out just like I did? It's more simple. There are a lot of great websites, you can download them. For iPad you have to use an app to install the fonts, so it will be like you have to spend some time on it. Invest in really good fonts, folks, because you will thank me later. They're coming handy, especially in like webcomic, webtoon, whatever you are working on. So yeah, I'm just blending out shadows with the darker colors, and this will be done, kinda. If you did not notice, I use a color wash on all my pages. It started with blue, it's turning into cyan, and it will change color actually. And depending on the emotions Daria is feeling, I like to lighten up the color wash. So yeah, you maybe you know this, but you probably did not. Actually, the color wash effect is related to Darya's emotional state. Like if she's feeling kind of numb emotionally, the color wash is going to be really strong. But if she is feeling excited or happy, like her heart is just speeding up a bit, then there will be more vibrant colors around her, and it's an indicator of how excited she is, how invested she is in the moment, and how, you know, how much her heart is in the moment. So that's an indicator, really. Also, for the speech bubble, I downloaded a lot of assets. I suggest you doing that. So yeah, that's it. We're done. Thank you for watching a lot.